Welcome to the Who's There channel. Foretelling the terrifying stories, please comment and subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Story 1. Good evening, people of the channel. I would like to share with you a disturbing story that happened to me some time ago. My name is Monica, 32 years old, and I'm a nurse at a hospital in Salt Lake City. I work the night shift, so I'm used to driving alone on deserted roads in the middle of nowhere in Utah. That night, about 2 weeks ago, I was heading home after a really tough shift. It was around 1 in the morning, and all I wanted was to get home, take a shower, and crash. The road I take, US 50, is always empty at that hour. Just the sound of the engine and darkness everywhere. I had the radio on, but it barely picked up anything, just this constant static noise. My car, an old but reliable Honda Civic, had about half a tank of gas, so I wasn't in a rush. I was staring at the headlights lighting up the asphalt, thinking about the next day when I'd have to go back to the hospital. Then, out of nowhere, I saw some headlights in the rearview mirror, far behind me. I didn't think much of it at first, just figured it was someone else on the road. A few minutes later, I noticed the car behind me wasn't getting closer or falling back. It was a dark sedan. Couldn't really make out the color, but the headlights were dim, kind of yellowish. I slowed down just to see if it would pass me, But no, it slowed down too, keeping the same distance. That started to make me uneasy, because there was no reason for it to do that. I tried speeding up a bit, just to test it, and it sped up right along with me, like it was glued to me. I checked the rear view again, trying to see if I could make out anything, but I couldn't see past the headlights. My heart started beating faster, but I told myself it might just be paranoia. After all, it was late. I was exhausted from the shift. Maybe I was imagining things. But something about the whole situation felt off. I don't know. I decided to switch lanes, even though the road was single lane in some spots. When I moved back to the original lane, the sedan did the same, without hesitating. I tried not to overthink it, but I was starting to get genuinely nervous. I turned on my hazard lights, acting like something was wrong with the car, and pulled over to the shoulder. The sedan stopped too, about 50 yards back, without turning off its headlights. I couldn't tell if anyone was inside. The darkness swallowed everything. Sat there for a few seconds, not knowing what to do, just staring into the rear view. My phone was on the passenger seat, but I knew there was no signal out there, so I didn't even try calling anyone. I felt a tightness in my chest, like something was telling me to get out of there fast. I pulled back onto the road, speeding up more than usual, praying I'd leave it behind. While I was driving, I noticed the radio, which was just static, started making weird sounds. It was like there was a voice buried in the noise, really faint, almost impossible to make out. I focused, trying to hear it better, and I swear I heard something that sounded like my name. Monica, but all warped, like it was being dragged out. My stomach knotted up, because there's no way there'd be a signal out there, let alone someone talking. I turned the radio off right away, but the sound kept going for a few seconds before it stopped. I glanced at the rear view, and the sedan was still there, same distance, like nothing had changed. My hands started sweating on the steering wheel, and all I wanted was to get somewhere with people around soon. I tried focusing on the road, but my mind wouldn't stop racing with thoughts. What if someone was following me on purpose? What if there was something wrong with that car? I couldn't see any license plate, not even with the headlights reflecting. I decided to take a detour, a back road that cuts through some abandoned farmland. I figured if it followed me there, it was definitely after me, and it did. My heart raced for real, and I started feeling a kind of fear I've never felt before. It wasn't just nerves, it was like I knew something really bad could happen. The road was rougher, full of potholes, and I drove as fast as I could without. Losing control, the sedan didn't give up. It even seemed to get closer at times. The radio was off, but I heard that sound again, that static coming back on its own. And I swear on everything, I heard Monica again, this time a little clearer, like someone was right near me. I looked at the back seat through the rear view, but there was no one there, obviously. My eyes started tearing up just from pure fear, and all I could think about was how much I wanted to be home. I tried calming myself down, telling myself it was just exhaustion, that nothing was there. But that voice didn't stop. It felt like it was coming from inside the car, not the radio. I floored the gas, ignoring the potholes, just wanting to get out of there as fast as I could. I didn't look to the sides anymore, just straight ahead, praying to see some town lights. After about 20 minutes that felt like hours, I saw faint lights in the distance from a small town I know called Delta. The relief I felt was huge, but the sedan was still behind me. I thought about stopping at the first house or gas station I saw, but I was scared that if I pulled over, they'd do something. I kept driving until I reached a 24-hour gas station, with some lights on and a few cars parked. Up real close to the entrance where there were people, and only then did I look back. The sedan was gone, just vanished, like it never existed. I sat in the car for a few minutes, shaking, trying to figure out what had happened. I got out of the car slowly, still looking around everywhere, and went inside the gas station. There was a guy at the counter, an older man, and I told him I thought someone was following me. He said he didn't see any dark car go by, but offered me a coffee while I calmed down. I stayed there for a while, just to make sure no one was around. My phone still didn't have a good signal, so I couldn't call anyone. The guy at the station said sometimes people imagine things on these roads, they're so lonely. But I know I didn't imagine it. That car was there and that voice. It wasn't in my head. I went back to the car after a bit, but I was still scared. When I started the engine to leave, the radio was off, but I heard that faint static again. My heart nearly stopped, but I didn't touch the knob, just stared at the dashboard. I heard Monica one more time, real quiet like it was, fading away. I don't know how to explain this, but it felt like someone or something knew who I was. I shut everything off quick, didn't even want to know, and drove home with the windows up and doors locked. I got there wiped out, almost at 3 in the morning, and couldn't sleep right. I just kept thinking about what I heard, and that car with no plates. It didn't make sense, but it happened. The next day, I told my brother what went down, said it might just be radio interference, that these roads sometimes pick up weird signals. He wasn't there. He didn't hear what I heard. I asked some coworkers at the hospital if they'd ever gone through anything like it, but no one had a similar story. A friend of mine who's a mechanic checked the radio in my car for me, but didn't find anything wrong. Said it's an old model, sometimes picks up random noise. But I know it wasn't random. It was my name, clear, more than once. And the car following me? There's no way to explain that. I spent a few days avoiding driving at night, and I had no choice. Because the shift ended late, I went with the radio off and kept checking the rear view the whole time. I haven't seen that dark sedan again, thank God, but sometimes I still hear a faint static in the car, even with everything off. It's not all the time, but it happens. I started letting my family know every time I hit the road, just in case. I don't know if I'll ever feel safe on these trips again. Something in me shifted after that night. I can't explain how. I thought about getting a new car, figuring maybe the issue was the old radio. But what if it's not? What if it's something on that road, something I don't get? I talked to a coworker at the hospital who's more religious, and he said sometimes isolated places hold things you can't explain. I don't know if I buy that, but I also don't know what to think. I just know I don't want to hear my name in that voice again. I keep wondering if it was someone or something trying to reach me. I don't even like thinking about it. I looked online to see if others have experienced something like this on US 50. I found a few stories of drivers seeing weird cars. No plates, but nothing exactly like what happened to me. Some talk about road ghosts, but I don't take that too seriously. Though deep down, I wonder if there's some truth to it. I mean, how did that car just disappear out of nowhere? How did the radio say my name with no signal? These questions won't leave me alone. I try to convince myself it was just a scare, but it's not easy. I started taking different routes when I can, even if it takes longer. I avoid stopping in really deserted stretches and always keep my phone charged, even though I know there's no signal in lots of places. I also got a location sharing app to use with my sister, just in case something happens. But honestly, I don't think the fear is going to go away anytime soon. Every time I drive on the road at night, I get tense, waiting to see those headlights behind me. or worse, hearing that voice again. I don't know what I'd do if it happens again. I tried talking to the local police about it, just to see if they had reports of anyone following cars out there. They said they didn't have any recent records, but told me to be careful and call if I saw something weird again. But how am I supposed to call with no signal? They didn't get how much this affected me. It wasn't just a car following me. It was something more, something I can't explain. I was left with the feeling that I wasn't alone, even though I was. It's too strange to put into words. My sister suggested I take a break from night shifts, maybe request day shifts for a while. But at the hospital, it's tough. We're short-staffed, and I need the money. So I keep facing it, but it's not the same. Before, I liked the quiet of the road at night, the silence. Now, that silence makes me nervous, like there's something hiding in it. I don't know if I'll ever feel at ease again. I just try to focus on getting home quick. Meanwhile, I still hear that static every now and then. It's not every day, but it happens. Sometimes I think I'm going to hear my name again, and it makes me want to pull over and get out running. But I can't, right? Gotta keep going. I just turn everything off and crank up music on my phone so I don't think about it too much. But deep down, I know it doesn't help. Something happened that night, something I don't understand. I don't think I ever will. I've told this story to a few close people, but I feel like no one really believes me. They think it was just fear or tiredness, or that I misheard. But I know what I heard. I know what I saw. That sedan with no plates was there, following me like it knew where I was going, that voice on the radio. It wasn't my imagination. I don't know if it was someone messing with me or something unexplainable. I just hope I never go through it again. Story 2. Hello. I'm going to tell you a story that I've never told anyone before. I decided to share it now. My name's Ana Garcia. I'm 35 years old. I work as a sales rep. And I gotta tell you about something that happened to me a few days ago. Seriously, I'm still shaken up just thinking about it. I've never gone through anything so weird in my life. And trust me, I travel a ton for work. I've seen all kinds of stuff. But this was different. I can't make sense of it. I'm going to tell you everything from the start so you get how it went down. It was one of those nights, around midnight. I was driving back from a meeting with a client in another city. I was on this highway in Spain, real empty, the kind where you don't see many cars, especially at night. I was wiped out, just wanting to get home. Then I noticed the gas tank was almost on empty, so I decided to pull over at the first station I saw. And that's when it all started. When I spotted the gas station, I already thought the place looked kinda off. It was a small station, kinda run down, It had a rusty old sign and just one working pump. The fluorescent lights kept flickering, making that annoying buzzing sound of a burnt-out bulb. I got out of the car feeling a little uneasy, because there wasn't a soul around, just this heavy silence. The wind was blowing hard that night, whipping stuff around and making a weird noise, almost like a moan. Honestly, I started getting nervous, but I told myself, Anna, quit being silly. It's just an old gas station. Get gas and get out of here. I looked over and saw an attendant inside the little store, an older guy with this blank stare. Went up to him to ask him to unlock the pump. He looked at me in this creepy way and mumbled something I couldn't quite catch, while I was trying to figure out what he said. He repeated it, almost whispering, "It comes with the wind." I just stood there, not knowing what to do, staring at his face, thinking it was a joke, or maybe the guy wasn't right in the head. But he didn't laugh, didn't explain anything, just turned around and walked into a back room at the store. I stood there, frozen, not knowing what was up. My heart was already racing. I don't even know why, but I felt this weight on my chest. I decided to brush it off, went back to the car, filled up quick, and got the heck out of there. I didn't want to stay another second in that place. I started the engine, turned on the headlights, and got back on the highway. But, man, what came next was worse. I wasn't ready for it. While I was driving, I noticed the headlights on my car started getting dim, like they were flickering, almost going out. I thought it was a problem with the battery or something, but everything looked fine on the dashboard. The highway was pitch black. Not a single streetlight, just darkness, and that strong wind shaking the trees. I was trying to focus on driving, but I started hearing this weird sound, It was faint at first, barely noticeable, like a howl or a cry coming from far away. I figured it was the wind sneaking through the car's cracks, But no, the sound didn't stop. I rolled up the windows, turned up the radio, but nothing helped. The sound felt like it was inside the car. Or, coming from outside, I couldn't tell. The worst part is, the more I drove, the louder that howl got. It was a sad, deep sound that seemed to echo in my head. I started feeling this tightness in my chest, an anxiety I can't even describe. I kept looking in the rearview mirror, thinking something was behind me, but there was nothing. Just darkness. I decided to speed up. I wanted to get out of there as fast as I could, but it felt like the sound was following me. It was like something was trailing the car, I don't know. Though my heart was pounding, my hands sweating on the steering wheel. All I could think was, Anna, stay calm. It's just in your head. But it wasn't. I swear it wasn't. I tried to distract myself, called a coworker, but my phone had no signal on that damn highway. The howling kept going, sometimes quieter, sometimes so loud it felt like someone was screaming right outside. I decided to slow down to see if the sound would stop, but it got worse. When I eased off the gas, the sound got clearer, closer, like it was right by the window. I didn't have the guts to look over, just kept my eyes on the road. My whole body was tense. All I wanted was to get to a place with people, with lights. Anything. I started praying under my breath, begging to get out of there soon. I've never felt so helpless in my life. After about 20 minutes that felt like forever, I saw a speck of light in the distance. It was a truck stop, brightly lit, with a bunch of cars and trucks parked. I almost cried from relief when I saw it. I sped up to get there fast, parked my car right in the middle of the lot, close to other folks. I got out with my legs shaking, looking all around. The wind was still strong, but the howling seemed to have quieted down. I headed to the diner at the stop, ordered a coffee, and sat near some truckers who were chatting. Just hearing human voices made me feel safer, but I still had that thing stuck in my head. While I sipped my coffee, I kept staring out the window, at my car, at the trees swaying in the wind. The sound was still there, real faint, almost like an echo in my mind. I don't know if it was real or if I was so scared I was imagining it. One of the truckers asked if I was okay, because I must have looked freaked out. I told them a bit of what happened, without going into too much detail. Just said, I heard a weird noise on the highway. He laughed and said that road has some strange stories, but didn't really explain. I didn't want to ask more, just wanted to calm down. I stayed there for a while, till I felt ready to keep going. When I got back to the car, I was still uneasy. I turned on the headlights, and this time they were fine. No flickering. The howling seemed to be gone, but I still felt this weird unease, like something had stayed with me. I drove the rest of the way without stopping, just staring ahead, trying not to think too much about what happened. I got home early in the morning, exhausted but relieved to be somewhere safe. I locked all the doors, shut the windows, and went straight to bed. Honestly, it took me a while to fall asleep, because every few minutes I thought I heard something in the wind. It was like that sound had latched onto me. The next day I told my husband what happened. He listened to everything, but said it was probably just exhaustion, that I was stressed and imagining things. He said the wind makes weird noises anyway, especially on empty highways. I wanted to believe him, but I can't. That sound wasn't normal. It wasn't just the wind. And that attendant at the station, what did he mean by it? Comes with the wind. I can't stop thinking about it. I even checked the car to see if anything was off, but everything was fine. Still, I don't feel at ease. Something about that night really shook me up. After that day, every time I take a more isolated route, I'm extra cautious. I don't see the figure anymore, thank God, but sometimes when it's real quiet in the van, it's like I hear an echo of that tapping on the roof. It's just for a second, then it's gone, but it still unsettles me. I try not to dwell on it, because otherwise I'll get paranoid, but it's hard to forget. I looked up stories or legends about that road, but didn't find anything that made sense. Maybe it's just a coincidence, or something I'll never understand. But honestly, I hope I never go through something like that again. That night was enough to leave a mark on me. I can't help but glance around sometimes. That feeling doesn't fully go away, even if I try to ignore it. Now, whenever I drive at night, I keep the radio on, even if it's staticky, just to have some noise to fill the silence. Avoid looking too much at the sides of the road, especially on foggy nights. I don't know if it was all in my head or if something was really there, but I'd rather not take chances. I've talked less about it because the more I talk, the more real it feels. Some friends say it might just be stress, but I know how I felt. You can't make something like that up. That feeling of something being with me in the van isn't something you forget easily. Just thinking about it gets me tense. It's like a piece of that night stuck with me. I don't know how to shake it off completely. I've been wondering if I should tell more people about this, but I don't know. If it's worth it, most folks won't believe me, and I don't blame them. If someone told me a story like this, I'd think it was weird too. But I needed to vent, get this off my chest somehow. Writing or talking about it helps me sort my thoughts, but it doesn't fix it. I still think about that man in the tattered coat, standing in the fog, like he was waiting for me. I don't know what he wanted, or if he was even real. Maybe I'll never know. I just hope he stayed on that road and doesn't come after me. Again, I don't even want to imagine it. My mind keeps going over it, even though I try not to dwell too much. The other day I drove down a similar road, but during the day, and nothing happened. Even so, my heart raced just from the memory. I try to convince myself it was a one-time thing, but I'm not sure. What if it happens again? What if I'm alone on a night like that, and hear that tapping again? I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd pull over at the first place with people around and wait for daylight. I'm not one to back down from problems, but this is different. It's something you can't fight or fix. You just gotta hope it doesn't cross your path again. I feel vulnerable thinking about it. It's not something I can control, and that gets to me a little. Just keep driving and hope for the best. For now, I keep working because I don't have a choice. Deliveries don't stop, and neither do the bills. But I'll admit I've changed some of my routes, avoiding the more isolated ones when I can. My coworkers have even noticed I've been quieter lately, but I don't tell them why. I don't. Want them thinking I'm losing it? Just keep this to myself and try to move on. But sometimes, on those darker nights, I feel like something's watching me. Might be pure paranoia, but I can't help it. It's like that night left a mark on me. I don't know how to shake that feeling. I keep driving, but I'm always a bit on edge now. If anyone's been through something like this, I'd like to hear about it. Maybe hearing other stories would help me make sense of what I saw. Or maybe it'd just make me feel like I'm not alone in this. I don't know. I just know I wouldn't wish this experience on anyone. It's not just the fear in the moment, it's the aftermath, how it sticks in your head. You start questioning what's real and what isn't. And in the end, there's no answer. Just the silence of the road and the memory of that tapping on the roof. I think I'll stop here. I've said too much already. But honestly, I needed to share this with someone. It feels a bit lighter to get it out, if it doesn't solve anything. At least I'm not carrying it alone. I thought about talking to a priest or someone who knows about spiritual stuff. But I don't know if I believe in that. Maybe I just need a vacation. Get away from the road for a bit. My wife says I work too much, that it's messing with my head. She might be right, but deep down I know it's not just that. Something about that night was different. It was real. In a way, I can't ignore. I don't expect everyone to get it, but I know how I felt. And that's what bothers me the most. Not having an explanation keeps me on edge even now. I can't stop thinking about it. I keep looking for answers, even if I don't find any. In the meantime, I keep driving, but I'm cautious. Every patch of fog on the road reminds me of that. Figure every odd noise in the van makes me stop to listen. I try not to let it take over, because otherwise I can't work. But it's not easy. Sometimes I catch myself staring at the van's roof for no reason, like I'm expecting to hear the tapping again. I don't hear it, but the feeling's there. I hope with time this fades, or at least I can leave it behind. Only the future will tell. For now, it's just moving forward. One delivery at a time. There's no other option. Life doesn't stop. But that night still lingers with me somehow. If you've got any ideas about what it could have been, if you've heard something similar, let me know. I'm open to listening, even if I don't buy into everything. I just want a way to deal. With this, to not think about it all the time. Because at the end of the day, life goes on, right? I've got bills to pay, a family to look after. I can't let one weird night stop me. But weird it was, no doubt. And somehow I feel like it's not over yet. It might just be in my head, but who knows? Only time will give the answer. For now, I keep on my path, even if it's with a bit of unease.